Jess, great to hear from Facento there, of course, from Echo Fox. Congratulations to them. They secured their spot in Stage 2. Unfortunately for Mindfreak, they are now relegated. They'll have to fight their way through that horrible relegation tournament. But let's not beat around the bush, of course. Still plenty of room for Echo Fox to improve. I think you kind of saw it there from that interview. I think Facento kind of summed it up himself, really. You know, how you feeling? You made it Stage 2. Okay, great. You know, it didn't manage to make, obviously, playoffs. But still, they have survived, Joe.
Well, and I think he said it. I mean, they got better. I think they had New Orleans. It was a bit of a honeymoon period. Everybody's playing well. They're going to get top stage, and you saw that in New Orleans. And then you just had some struggles. But finally, you can see they got past those struggles. They're starting to improve, and this is a sign of it. I mean, they didn't win a London Docks in Stage 1 until this point, and I really feel that's due to Aqua, right? He's running that third sub. I feel he's comfortable now. The more reps this team gets, the more dangerous they're going to be.
I will say, just the start they had, I think they got up to 123-0. Like, this is the match we were hyping up as being the most important match of the Pro League. Like, this is what has the most on the line. Because, yes, it's qualification for just so much money for champs, for Stage 2. It's ridiculous. And for Mindfreak to not get a single point until, what, the 4th hill, that's absurd. Like, you cannot afford to have a slow start because the game was relatively close after that point. Like, they go up 123-0, and then it finishes, like, 127-107. So it was just a horrible start. Like, you can't have that.
It's an embarrassing start.
It's pathetic. Yeah,
it should never happen.
And it cost them. It cost them dearly.
You dig yourself in a hole like that, it's very hard to get out of. And of course, we then talk about the search and destroy as well. The map 2 at that point, Echo Fox have kind of earned themselves a lead. And the key was the mental attitude as well at the end of that map 1. If you start off slow in a series like that, it's going to be so hard, if you're Mindfreak, Joe, to dig yourself out of that mental ditch.
Yeah, it definitely is. And I'm just trying to think with Mindfreak on Search and Destroy USS Texas. They don't play it much, right? So we haven't seen them. They're 0-1 so far through Stage 1. So this is one where you just think Echo Fox's experience is going to shine through. It does. Echo Fox, they don't do a lot of snipers, but they really play around guys like Saints and Facento. You see Aqua always on that flank, and I think they do a great job on their offenses on this one. It always comes down to these executes. Just like that 1-versus-1, Assault able to pick up Fighter. And again, I just think it deals with Mindfreak. How often do we see them play that map?
And that's kind of the story of the series for me. This map, it was kind of lopsided in Echo Fox's favor. Even the Gibraltar we pointed out for Hardpoint, that should also be in Echo Fox's favor. It's a very close match, and we even said Mindfreak, hey, they're going to look good on map 3, so that played out. It literally, for me, was just that slow start on London Docks. Like, that was the map that I think, most importantly, Mindfreak had to win just to have a chance in the series, because if we had seen in game number 5, I'm not completely confident that Mindfreak would have won, but I think they would have had their best chance. I think the map pick towards the end was solid for them, but the Gibraltar, you can't imagine it was going to go their way, and obviously it didn't. But yeah, the map 2, they just got smacked around a little bit. 6-2 performance, and I think the biggest thing was just the first bloods from Echo Fox. They got all but like 2 of them, and Facento's even having some nice 1v2 clutches, but Echo Fox on that map is just the better team.
Most definitely are. Of course, at that point, Echo 2-0 up. Then we get to the CTF, and well, let's just say it ended with a... it ended interestingly. Obviously, I'm sure you guys are going to break down exactly what happens, but I mean, obviously, Mindfreak, they walk away with it, but this very well could have been a 3-0.
Yeah, I mean, I got nervous very early on. I mean, it just started out the same way the first 2 did, where Echo Fox, they just got off to a hot start. They had a very solid lead, but finally, you see sort of a spark for Mindfreak. You know, they get things going, they take that lead, and it really just comes down to that last flag, which was a pretty awkward situation. It just seemed like Saints gave up that first cut. It allowed 2 players on Mindfreak to be able to get through towards, that base. They lose a couple of gunfights, and, well, game over.
And I can, again, appreciate Mindfreak just being able to bounce back. Like, you dig yourself in such a hole, and even to go down that first flag to bounce back, that's impressive, right? Like, you're thinking long-term for this team. I think both open events, they've placed, what, top 12, so they still want some sort of momentum, and they can say, hey, look, even in these close maps where they're back against the wall, we can clutch up, because they had a very nice performance here. And yes, things got wild towards the end where Echo Fox made it almost as close as you possibly could, with the flag just getting out barely. But no, Mindfreak, they played that map well against Red Reserve. In the first week we had, they played it well against Echo Fox overall. So very solid performance.
I was going to mention, of course, that's not the first time we've seen Mindfreak have a pretty close London Docks CTF, but they come out, they clutch up, they force the next hard point. Chance, you obviously already touched on it, though. Didn't really make much of a difference. You thought going into that map number 4 that this could be where the series ended, and it very much was. Of course, Echo Fox, they take map 4. and they take the series as well. Gibraltar, it just didn't work out for Mindfreak.
Despite the efforts from Shox as well. Like, he had a fantastic game, but I think it was both Bida and Buzzo had slow starts. And it's a situation where even if you're playing teams close, but two players, you can't afford to have two players have slow games. And it was costly. But Shox, I mean, pulling out nice kills with the streaks, goes on some nice tears here and there. There was a lot of potential, but they dug themselves in too much of a hole. You find yourself down by nearly 100 points. It's almost impossible to climb out of.
And I felt like they had really, after this point, right, they control that castle roll. They do a great job at turret, and really the game's about tied up. As soon as we head to that fort courtyard, Mindfreak win the rotation, but Echo Fox break on through. I feel like that was the difference maker because, I mean, Mindfreak, they made the game close, but as soon as you go to that second hill where Echo Fox wins by 50 points, it just got a little out of hand for Mindfreak. A great job by Echo Fox to bounce back because, again, that lead diminished pretty quickly. You know, a few hills went towards that Mindfreak side, but Echo Fox responded and had a couple of big breaks.
Well, fate was in Echo Fox's own hands, and they managed to come out, stay composed, and get the victory. They secure their spot now at the, I was going to say stage 1 playoffs. They secure their spot into stage 2, not the playoffs, of course. But unfortunately for Mindfreak, they are in relegation zone. They join Vitality, of course. We'll see if they're able to break through and make it into towards stage 2. With everything we've seen here, obviously, you guys know some of the other talented teams that potentially could make it into relegation. How do you fare their chances at maybe seeing them again at stage 2?
So I think what helps is you have Atlanta and Birmingham. However, Seattle is still pretty far away. You know, we're not there until the end of April.
Right.
And well, who is Mindfreak going to practice against? You know, that is the big thing to me. They're going to have a couple events, and then they're going to go home for about a month. Are they going to practice against the Australians? This is just a situation that kind of scares me. It just really does. I would love to see them come back out to the States and just get a small boot camp in, even if it's before that Seattle about a week early. But we'll see what happens. We know the talent on this roster.
Yep.
I mean, there are a lot of good teams that are challenging them. But, I mean, I probably would say that they should be able to get back in just with the talent with guys like Shox and Dens.
Yeah, Mindfreak should be able to get in. Vitality, I don't know. That's a much tougher sell because they didn't really show too many improvements throughout the 4 weeks. They had 4 weeks in North America against the top teams to make improvements. They repeatedly played teams close, but like it's not good enough. If you only win one series in 14 matches, there's not a lot to have faith in. And there's quite a few scary teams, mainly North American teams, waiting the wings. Lightning Pandas is a very good team. Complexity is great. GGEA has 2 separate teams that could very well beat out Vitality. What is it, in Seattle where these are getting played? So not easy at all. Vitality really needs to just go back to the drawing board and just figure out where they can make the improvements because they still have a couple open events where they can do so. But I think for Vitality, it's a desperate situation.
Well, we're now halfway through, of course, the final day here of Division A matches. We have Red Reserve versus TK up next. And later on, to close out the day, a game I'm pretty excited for, Rise Nation versus Optic Gaming. And that leads us into a pretty interesting segue here. You know, we were very active on social media earlier on in the day. We asked all of you guys at home, the fans, who do you have in that final series of the day? Do you have Rise or do you